I am, but did he run out of time?
No, it's good. You made it.
Is it?
You got the golden ticket.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You're the last caller for today, but
Thank
yeah,
you.
go ahead. Rahubat,
Okay.
what's your name? Where you
Thank
calling
you.
from, and what's your question?
Rahul back. So Ken, this is Rita from
Hey,
San Francisco Bay Area.
yes, I remember now.
Hi.
Rahubat, I was thinking about you the other
Yes,
day. I'm like, you ain't called for a minute, but yeah, glad to hear
I
from you.
know. I've been listening, and yeah, I've been doing a lot. But congratulations, number one. And I
Tawat.
won't keep you because I know this is ending. But
It's okay. Go
I
ahead.
had a really quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading Genetic Kiss and learning a lot for sure. But um, one of the questions that I have with regards to the all expanding,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know um, when the Netaru or the nine ether beings came to seed planet Earth,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about them being the first, were they the first in being the first humans in all of creation and the all expanding, like beyond the animals and the fish in the sea and all of that? Was this like the first?
Tour.
Are the nine ether beings the first like
Yes.
creation, human creation?
No, they're
Okay.
not. Okay.
Eh,
This
or
is where the
uh,
the confusion in terms of human and creation.
okay, yes.
Yeah. So we when we say creation, most of us are normally talking about life on planet Earth, right?
Yes. Okay.
There are other
Right.
beings that have evolved on other planets and other star systems way before us. And that's
Okay.
such a good question because once we get off the planet and we start to talk about these star systems, we start to talk about the
Mm-hmm.
beings that most people are familiar with that are mentioned in the biblical text, like beings from
Yes.
Octorus, being from Pleiades,
Yeah.
being from Aldebaran, beings from Orion. Now, when you start going into those
Okay.
star systems and you start to talk about, okay, who are these beings? So you see, like the Pleiadians are from Taurus, the or the
Mm-hmm.
Pleiades star constellation. Then you go into their genetics, like, okay, in the realm of extraterrestrials, you still have our ancestors being an Natharu, which would be
Mm-hmm.
those first beings. So when the master starts off with the holy tablets, which completed all those religious books, he says, I'm going to take you into time and space, into
Mm-hmm.
like existences which your time way outside your realm and time zones to
Mm-hmm.
times where you can't even comprehend. But I will tell you. And then he starts off by
Yes.
saying there were the green beings of supreme green light. And then he breaks
Mm-hmm.
down how these supreme beings, this is our ancestors in the Tharu, then from them came the beings of amber light. And then it goes on to start to
Mm-hmm.
explain these different types of beings. But yes, we are the original. Everything you see in the stars replicates on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So the original beings in the stars will be the Natharu. The original beings on the planet Earth will be their children because they seeded the planet
Mm-hmm.
Earth, just like everyone comes from us on the planet in terms of our genetics and
Mm-hmm.
our DNA. So it's the same thing that when you see the races on the planet today, everyone ties back to
Mm-hmm.
their extraterrestrials. So, like the
Mm-hmm.
Caucasians, which now, through anthropologists, they're saying that will be the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon. You see, so
Mm-hmm.
that's one genetic.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll have the Asians, which will be the Denisovan and the Homo florensis. That's another genetic. Then you go to us, which is
Mm-hmm.
the Homo habilis and the Homo naledi, which is another, but
Mm-hmm.
that one comes first. So everyone then ties into the different extraterrestrials that they come from or they're descendants of. So yes, the
Okay.
question is, wherever you go in the multiverses, we are those supreme beings. That's why
Wow.
one of them has been
Okay.
sent to come here to remind us of who we are and to get us back to
Okay.
remember who we are.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, and thank you so much for that.
No
I
problem.
also wanted to when you mentioned just a few with one of the callers, you spoke of nirvana. I've always seen that as a state of enlightenment, like in
Yeah, that's what
Buddhism.
they
But
teach.
when
Yeah.
yeah, but what do you mean by that?
Oh, so
By nirvana?
right. Again, we've run out of time, but we can carry on in the
Oh yes.
Telegram group or next week. But we're
Okay.
talking about a place. This is what I was saying. It's just like people will talk about the
Yes.
Akasha
Okay.
records as a
Yeah.
mystical place, or then they will talk about, like the, because what happens is that when people go outside of the monotheistic religions and start to delve into others, like they will go into like Buddhism or Hinduism, and they start being taught about, these are the states of consciousness and the chakras, and they start to talk about enlightenment, and so they will talk about some of these things, like I said, like the Akasha records, like nirvana being a state of mind that you rise into. So it's like heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the
Mm-hmm.
same story that becomes heaven, meaning that heaven is an actual place, as we've said, that the
Mm-hmm.
constellations. But heaven is also a state of mind, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
heaven and hell are what you give yourself. You can make yourself live in hell. You can make yourself live in
Mm-hmm.
heaven just by the way you think, just your mind, because the mind is the most powerful thing you have. So the same way
Yes.
heaven and hell can be your neighborhood where you look around and you see the drug addicts, the killers, the murderers, the all of that. That's
Mm-hmm.
hell. But you can have hell as in you just the way you think, the desires you have.
Right.
You want this, you want that, you want things you can't have. Or you can look at hell as an actual
Mm-hmm.
physical place. So it's the same with heaven. And it's the same with these
Gotcha.
mystical places that people talk about. Because of the lack of
Okay.
knowledge at the time, they couldn't interpret them. So they just made it into, in the
Mm-hmm.
Quran, the seven heavens. And Muhammad
Gotcha.
riding a donkey to space, not realizing we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
crafts that came and picked him up and took him and showed him things and then brought
Yes.
him back down. And he spoke to some extraterrestrial. You see, when you break it down with the right knowledge, the right wisdom, you get the right understanding. So then we demystify. Yeah, somebody, that's one of the ways I asked somebody that recently came into Wu-Sabat what it was that
Mm-hmm.
made them come in. And this is going to be the last point. I know
Mm-hmm.
we've gone over time. I asked them because,
Okay.
and I'm glad you reminded me of this, I have, and the master teacher also tries to decipher this thing where we're like, we reach millions of people, but how many of them actually then take it on board and live it and come and become a part of Wu-Sabat, etc., etc.? Although it's more
Yeah.
than anything else at the moment, it still kind of baffles me as to how people don't get it. And I asked his brother, what was
Mm-hmm.
it that made you? It's quite new as well. I started watching the YouTube videos from OSM Vision. And he said, in one word, Wu-Sabat demystifies everything for me. He said it
Mm-hmm.
answered all the questions I ever had. And I was like, And he said, remember, the master says, many are called, few are chosen. So
Yeah.
that's what I felt when I came into Wu-Sabat. I was like, it demystifies everything. You ain't got to worry
Yes.
about what is that story really talking about. Was it a really talking snake speaking to a woman who didn't run away?
Yes.
Is that real?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that's
Yes.
helped you in some way. But I'm gonna, yeah, you.
Tremendously.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. I'll call back earlier next time, but
No
thank you
problem.
so much.
All right, take care.